Hey, Internet, what's up? I wanted to talk about the newest Assassin's Creed Shadows game. Now, it was recently revealed like a couple days ago, or like a week ago, and essentially, there's about two camps. One side regarding the secondary main character, Yasuke, the Black Samurai or Retainer, as everyone's arguing, is a weird choice to pick for an Assassin's Creed game set in Japan, be it for historical reasons or, because he was picked because of political reasons. And, that's annoying and sucks, and we don't want that. The opposite camp says Assassin's Creed was never historical. It was never historically accurate, so don't complain. Whatever. But and also, Yasuke was real and he was a samurai. So thus it's okay and you're just dumb and you don't know what you're talking about. And or you are racist and hate black people, whatever. The real thing that matters is the price of the game, excuse me, and the quality. So I'm gonna address most of those if I can. Hopefully concise. This isn't really a scripted video, but I will try my best. For the Yasuke situation, right? Yasuke, from my limited search of him, I know Wikipedia is not actually a good source, in terms of like a research debate, but from YouTube videos and such, I watched like the Metatron, which I do suggest some people watch. No matter what side you're on, he provides like great facts about the guy, and his challenge was just entertaining all the time. But essentially, it is said that Yasuke is not historically accurate, or that he was not that important. Now, Yasuke, like I said, from my limited knowledge, was sometimes said that he was a bushi. Other times, it said that he was a full-fledged samurai. Some say, well, he was a samurai, but he wasn't a full samurai. He wasn't granted the full title. And even if he was, it's kind of weird that a game set in Japan all of a sudden has a black guy. So my opinion on that, and that it's also political. Ubisoft woke, whatever. My opinion on that is one. If Yasuke was picked for only political reasons, I think that's a shit reason to have him in the game, and I think that's a disservice to how interesting people find him. If that is the only reason he was picked in the game to, quote unquote, own the chuds or whatever the hell's going on in the culture war, like they should just pick him because they found him interesting. Now I believe, because I'm generous and I also can read minds, that it was more of a like 70% Yasuke is a cool character and we want him in our game, and 30%, we'll be getting brownie points. We'll be hitting that diverse, those diverse check marks if we put him in our game. But I don't think it's just a blatant 100%. He's only in the game for political reasons. I think it's a little bit of both. Now, if it was up to me, and I am saying this as a black man, I mean, not that that should make my opinion right or wrong. I wouldn't have picked Yasuke as like one of the main characters for this game. I wouldn't have done that, or if I did, if I no, I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have picked him. I would have just had him, or he would have been in the game, but he would have been, in my opinion, would have been better. He was like your handler, the guy who gives you the contracts. Since he is always around Nobunaga, his bodyguard, he probably hears whispers of all important people coming in and out through the area, so he would be able to give you information, and no one would suspect that he's like orchestrating this whole assassins, clan to come kill everyone. A lot of, that'd be kind of a little hard for them to be like, yeah, 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 it was Yasuke. And then they'd be like, dude, if it was Yasuke, we'd know. Okay, this humongous black guy, we'd know. So that would be one of my opinions for the, almost got caught, for the, for if I would have Yasuke in the game in general. Now, one other argument I hear, and I hate this, I'm sorry, I despise it, and it is a new trend in media and games when discussing things like, usually the changing of race, gender, sexuality of a character. It's fantasy, so it doesn't matter, right? Uh-oh, somebody found a body. It's fantasy, so it doesn't matter. Who cares? Assassin's Creed was never historical. You get all the jokes. When was Assassin's Creed ever historical? We were fighting snake demons and all that, and yada yada yada. What are you talking about? My response to that is Assassin's Creed is not historically accurate, but it is authentic. Assassin's Creed is authentic to its time period and where it is set, and it makes you feel like most of the things are very plausible. Da Vinci, but the Da Vinci missions, that you did, no, that wasn't realistic. Well, I mean, even in the context of that situation, Assassin's Creed plays with the more conspiracy theory elements. So, even though you can point the Da Vinci situation, also note that during the game, no average citizen believes that Da Vinci could ever make such a thing. They don't believe. If Da Vinci in Assassin's Creed 2 were to say something like, I built a flying machine, a normal person, other than Ezio, would probably never believe him. Not to mention, I believe in Brotherhood, you kind of destroy you actually destroy most of the things that he made so they don't fall in other hands, which is kind of Assassin's Creed's way of saying, yeah, they're not real, this is the real reason why you never saw, the tanks. Even though, like, in real life, I'm pretty sure his tank, it might have worked. I don't know. But it wouldn't be like how it functions in games. So that's kind of how Assassin's Creed says that. Like, oh, like, yeah, because it was erased by Ezio because Leonardo asked him to. So Assassin's Creed, while never... Assassin's Creed, while never being historically accurate, always is authentic to its era. So if you had an Assassin's Creed set in Japan, like Shadows is going to be, Yasuke probably shouldn't have the ability to fly. Because why? And again, the whole it's a fantasy thing is a new kind of, I'll say, argument that you see mainly when they want to change the character. Things should be authentic to the setting. Star Wars and Star Trek are great examples. Both Star Trek and Star Wars are sci-fi and fictional settings. But Star Wars is more fantastical and, is less grounded. Why Star Trek is more grounded. You cannot simply say because both are fake and not real that, you can just have Star Trek be as loose as Star Wars and now everyone has powers and magic, like, no. You have to make it contextual to the world. If there's a person who can, for instance, use the Force or whatever they'd call the Force, one, either you cannot make it, or two, you have to basically give it like techno jargon. People in Star Wars have it because the Force allows them to. There's this, nebulous force that we cannot see that allows an individual to use powers such as like levitation, such as what I want to say, not levitation, but like telekinesis, right? Where Star Trek would probably say, if they wanted to also add the same power, the nanites, hey, the person who can do it is wearing a super sci-fi suit that allows them to emit a gravitational a gravitational barrier around their body, thus having telekinesis. Like, so we have telekinesis in both games. I mean, in both areas, but one has to be more grounded than the other. Star Wars, you could just say, yeah, we have it because we've established that's kind of like the Force. It's we don't, no one ever fully knows about the Force. It's just an energy that flows. But for Star Trek, something like that needs to be explained. So it might have to be more realistic in its approach. So I just hate that argument. And like I said, and I will say it is like for people who it's mainly writers who just want to change something and they can't be bothered to try to make it work within the lore. Oh, we want to we want a black Superman. Like, well, we could just make a black guy who has Krypton is an entire planet. We can just have a black guy from Krypton. No, but we want to make Superman black. Oh, Calvin Ellis. No. We just want him to be black. So instead of just making a Kryptonian who's black from the planet, maybe come meet Superman. Maybe it's a General Zod type from the Krypton's past. He's an old warrior. Now we're just gonna change him, and now Clark Kent is black. That's just lazy. So that would be my opinion on in terms of that discussion of authenticity and historical. Is Assassin's Creed historical? Another thing you do hear sometimes from people is that William from Neo is he you play a white guy from Neo. What about that? Even though Neo is far more in the realm of fantasy compared to Assassin's Creed. And, now granted, I haven't played the whole game. Neo, you're just taking essentially everyone's, samurai garb. You don't even become a full-fledged samurai. And hell, Yasuke's in that one too. He's an actual samurai. Unlike you just kind of stole things. And I mean, plus William is like the poster boy for like weeaboos. Like, yeah, I mean, it's cool that he is a white samurai in a land where usually they probably wouldn't let that fly. Like, but like he's also like made fun of as a weeaboo. And I think a lot of people, I'll say the hypocrisy. I think if the game was like Assassin's Creed Shadows, introducing William Adams, the same people are like Yasuke is historical. He actually was there. Shut the fuck up. They would probably not be keeping that same energy. You know what I'm saying? They'd probably be furious. Oh my god, this is white supremacy. This is stupid. You can't. How dare you? What the fuck? Some people would be consistent, but a lot of people wouldn't. And that's just how things are. I also see people comparing like, why do you play as a Welshman in Assassin's Creed 4? It's in the Caribbean. And it's just like, that's not an argument. It's one of those bad arguments you make when you don't have one. Because if there was as many black people in Japan as there were Welshmen who came from Europe, then I would say, yeah, put a black guy in the game. So, my opinion on that. And then I know another argument people have made is that, Assassin's Creed, no one complained about Assassin's Creed when it was out, when it was doing fantastical stuff before. Like, yes, they were. Alright? I was there when Origins came out, Odyssey, Valhalla. Everyone was saying, not everyone, but a lot of people who were fans of the old pre-Origins Assassin's Creed were like, hey, we've gone a little too far on the fantasy side. Obviously, there are people who are hypocritical and who are racist, but I'm just saying, like, let's not rewrite history just to win an argument. Plenty of people were against the fantastical stuff before Assassin's Creed Shadows. I will say I don't like people who are grifters, though. I'll say on the left and the right, like people who will deny that the game is good, right? Despite Yasuke being in it, if the game's good, you should admit that the game's good. But I know a lot of people are gonna be like, no, I can't compliment this game I've officially declared it being bad because it's not playing for my team, and so fuck it. I think that's dumb. But yeah, I think the whole thing's dumb. I really hate that culture. I mean, not culture, but entertainment's gotten this way. I honestly think, despite me disagreeing with people a lot, I think things were better when liberals were kind of in charge of like culture, entertainment, because they kind of like held the foundation. Like when you're with your group of friends and like one of you kind of, and everyone's kind of like not talking to each other, but there's one friend that kind of links everyone together, and like, oh, now you meet his friends and he's met you, and he's kind of keeping the peace, and now you're all interested. Or like when that person's gone, you guys kind of don't talk as much. Like that's what liberalism and liberals were for entertainment. I mean, we always had problems with like conservatives back in the day, but like they never were. They were part of the culture. They never took over the culture like more leftists. Even if they do say some things that I might agree with, I'm still just like, this is this is kind of bad that you guys are kind of culture. Everything's racist, homophobic now. Everything has to be changed. We want representation for this group, but yet we bought the rights to a franchise that didn't have any representation. Like, why do that? Like, I don't get why companies do that. Like, we made the elves in Lord of the Rings black because there wasn't any black people. It's like, well, like, why did you buy it then? Like, I wouldn't have done that. I would have just been like, there's hundreds of writers making African fantasies, or at least fantasies with black people and minorities. You don't even have to be like go all Afro fantasy or Afro futurism. There's probably plenty of white writers who have also made fantasies with black characters. I mean, the Elder Scrolls literally has Redguard, some of the coolest black people in fantasy, in my opinion. That everyone, that people, for some reason, who want Black Aragon ignore. Like, I remember when that was going on. Like, oh my god, I finally see myself. And I'm just sitting there like, have you not played an Elder Scrolls game? Have you not heard of the Have, have you not heard of the warriors from Hammerfell with their curved swords? Curved swords. Like, have you not seen that? I know Magic the Gathering had an Elder Scrolls collection, you know. And then that's its own argument. Race swaps, or just swaps in general. I find those boring and a waste of time. But um, I just wish the whole situation, even if you were like, hey, I don't think Yasuke should be in the game, or hey, I think he should be in the game. I wish it was all handled better, because like, no matter what side, I think everyone handled it like absolute dog shit. I think everyone handled it absolutely terrible, and made terrible arguments. Like, oh my god, if you like Yasuke, you guys hate Asians, and all of Japan is just so upset, and you're ruining their culture. I mean, you could argue it's kind of cultural appropriation. If it's cultural appropriation and one race does it, it kind of has to be that way for all. But yeah, like I don't agree with that. But even if I agree, Yasuke probably shouldn't have been picked. If they play more into the conspiracy theory side of him, though, I think it's how you use him. I think even if he was meant to be political, right? If you make him cool, if you play with the conspiracy side, again, the authenticity of Assassin's Creed, i.e., Yasuke is only a Bushi, and he uses a piece of Eden to like push himself to samurai status, and it's kind of part of the story. Like, how did a black guy become a samurai? Maybe the Templars gave him an amulet that that makes people kinder to him. Like I said, um, that would be interesting. And playing with the conspiracy theory, but yeah, something like that. That's what I would do. I would make it interesting. So he would essentially be like Cesare Borgia, probably not the bad guy, but like what we're playing with the conspiracy role of him, and then like you reveal like, yeah, there's an amulet that makes everyone like Yasuke, so that's why he's a samurai, which I think would be interesting. And like back to the whole who can you trust? History is always being rewritten. What's going on, you know? But I don't know. Wait and see. I probably won't get the game because it's Ubisoft, but I'll check it out. I don't know. I think also they picked Yasuke because 2019 and 2020 were like the year of the samurai. So many games with
Calm down.
samurai were
Who's
coming out,
contacting?
and I
The
think
invaders
that
took our
was
house.
I think someone
Down
was
the
like, how do
road.
we
My wife is
differentiate
here.
our game
With my son.
from
You
everybody
left your
else?
family
And I
behind?
wonder what
Choice
Shadows
did I
is
have?
going to
I'm no
do
warrior.
to beat Ghost of
I'll help.
Tsushima. Ghost of
Stay here.
Tsushima kind of set the bar for samurai games. Is it like the best samurai game ever made? I haven't played every samurai game ever made, but I'm pretty sure it's at least top one or two. Like if there's a samurai game better than Ghost of Tsushima, it's the second best samurai game. So I don't know what they're going to do with and then like not even this Ghost of Tsushima. You have Rise of Ronin. You have Neo. You have Neo 1 and 2. You have Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, and whatever other samurai game I'm like not thinking of that probably came out. Like it's kind of Ubisoft's kind of in a bind. Like and Ghost of Tsushima just came out for PC. You know, now Sony kind of did fuck over some guys on PC selling the game in countries that don't have PSN, which I think is slimy. But like, you know, hopefully that gets fixed, just like the Helldivers situation. And what are they gonna do? What are they gonna do? And it's I mean, Ubisoft's lucky. They haven't announced like a DLC, like a whole, like imagine a whole new DLC that that's supposed to get us excited for Ghost of
No sign of your family here.
Tsushima
Maybe outside.
2. Like imagine if they released that when Assassin's Creed Shadows came out. That would be shitty. That would be bad for Ubisoft. So anyway, I think I've made my arguments, my opinions on the matter. I hope everyone
Still
gives
there.
theirs. I'm interested to see in the comments what you have to say. And all I ask is that we have conversations and not a screaming match. And yeah, maybe you have the opposite opinion of me, and you convince me that I'm wrong,
Someone was
or I
killed.
convince you that what I'm saying is right. But yeah, have a good one, everybody.